fans are excited to make an impact. This will be a fun game for us. I think we had a really good first practice here today, kind of hopping into Washington. Certainly a team that has some talent and really well-coached team. You know, I got a lot of respect for Coach Fish and the job that he's done, and have had an opportunity to go against him before, and I think he always does a good job with his team. And I think you can see that with this group here.
On the left, here.
Yeah, following up on that, what do you remember from that game a couple of years ago against Arizona and stands out? Is it similar how they coach the team to where they are this year?
I think what they've always done a good job of is adapting to the personnel that they have, and taking advantage of it. But you see, things that cause stress, on both sides of the ball, and it's a different defense now that they're running in Washington, but they still cause stress. They make it tough for you to game plan because they have answers within their scheme, and again, they make an impact out there on the field.
Back right, Aaron.
Washington has gone towards their true freshman quarterback more over the past couple weeks. Just what have you seen from him on film, and what makes him a threat?
Yeah, he is a guy that can operate. He has, great athleticism, but he can make great throws as well. I think you see that show up, so I don't see a huge change in their system. They're both guys that can operate the system. I think he just becomes a threat from a run game standpoint, what he can do with his legs. He's very athletic. You have to be aware where he's at all times. And, then Rodgers as well has been a guy that's won a lot of football games and can throw the ball really well too. So they do a good job matching their scheme to those guys', traits and skill set.
Front left, James.
What makes Jonah Coleman an effective runner for them?
Yeah, I told our team earlier, I think this is as talented a back as we've seen besides Genty earlier this season. I think they're both very comparable. He's a guy when he gets to the second level, he looks for contact. He breaks more tackles probably than anyone else we've seen as well, like a lot of yards after contact. He's a great one-cut runner and stop-go, right? Like you see acceleration for him at the second level. So really talented player. It's going to take our best effort to get him on the ground.
Middle left, Olivia.
What's the challenge of facing a Washington team that hasn't named a starting quarterback yet?
Well, I think, this is a team that's played multiple quarterbacks throughout the season. So we've seen a little bit of both guys, and they've had times where they've actually had both guys out there on the field at the same time. So I don't know that it presents a huge challenge. Either way, we were going to prepare for both because they've utilized both throughout the year.
Back left, Matt.
Having a bye week this late is pretty unique. How did you guys maximize it to get better this past week for this week?
Yeah, first we just started by looking at ourselves, right? Evaluating where the areas that we can improve, what are our strengths, finding ways to be able to lean into those strengths, and then, getting our legs back, getting ourselves back, attacking the weight room. We saw great jumps in our numbers, in the weight room this past week, whether it's our, squat power numbers or just our speeds on the field. So I think that those are all positives. We're going to go in this game, playing really fresh at the end.
Same row on the left there.
Seen you get creative in how you motivate your team this year. Is this one as simple as what the outcome was the last 3 times?
It's always about performance, right? It's always about what we're able to do on the field. So again, I think I've said it several times, motivation's overrated, right? Like our guys have to want to go out there and execute at a really high level. Since the beginning of the season, we talked about playing our best football at the end of November. Well, we're there, right? So this is our opportunity to go play our best football against a good team.
Back right, Aaron.
Washington's pass defense has been one of the more effective ones in the country so far this season. Just what makes them so effective?
Yeah, really sound. I think they have a great understanding of what the strengths and weaknesses are of every defense that they call, and because of that, they can play into those strengths or weaknesses. And they do a good job changing it up. They change the picture. They can play, zone. They can play man. I think that they're just extremely well coached.
Front left, James.
Touched on it before, Dan, but your relationship with Jed, what does it date back to, and how does a rivalry get impacted when there seems to be more respect than animus? I mean, he's retweeting some of your Coach 2 videos of man beater RPOs in the last 24 hours. So just what is it like, and how does it impact the rivalry when there seems to be more of a positive relationship between coaches than animus?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody that wants, steps out on the field, they want to have opportunities to go win, right? And he's a competitor, I'm a competitor, but that doesn't mean you can't respect, the job that he's done or the success he's had in his career.
Over here on the right.
There's a lot of physical benefits to having the time without a game here, but what are you able to do with the team mentally in order to prepare them, not only for this game, but for the run-in?
Can reword that for me or say it one more time?
There's a lot of physical benefits to having the bye week here, but what are you able to do with the team mentally here in order to get them ready for this game and for the run-in?
Yeah, we ultimately it's about this game, right? The next game is the most important game. So we prepare very similar to what we would every week. The difference is you have 2 weeks. So the last week was about preparing for ourselves. What can we improve? And then this week's really going to be about Washington.
Back left, Matt.
Two different receivers this year, but they're both, again, in the top 10 in receptions for the conference. Your thoughts on just Jackson and Boston and how they complement each other?
Yeah, great players. And I think when you put the ball close to them, they do a great job of attacking it. You know, they have big catch radius. Again, you can tell that they're not guys that you can necessarily leave on an island. They're going to compete for the ball. So it's somebody that, you know, those are guys that we have to be aware where they're at all times.
Back right, Aaron.
Oregon is now the only undefeated team in FBS. Looking back at those 11 games, just what has been the hardest part to be able to go undefeated so far this season?
I think anytime in college football, it's the consistency, right, throughout the year of, you know, what it takes to be able to win tight games, you know, games that are maybe have a little bit bigger, wider spread in them, you know, but ultimately being able to play consistent football throughout the season is tough.
Front left, James.
You've had players play their former teams before. Just what do you think this one means to Jabbar?
I'm sure it means a ton, right? I'm sure it means a ton. In fact, I know it means a ton. But again, I think he knows that it's more about going out there and executing than anything else.
Second row on the left, Eric.
Significance of the senior class. I know it's kind of a weird deal where some have been there a year, some more than that. But what does it mean to kind of send those guys off on Saturday?
Yeah, this will be their last, you know, potentially their last opportunity to play here in Autzen. You want to make sure you send them off the right way. And it, you know, the later you get in your career, the faster and faster these seasons go and these moments go. And I think that'll be a surreal moment for all those guys stepping on the field, getting an opportunity to enjoy their senior day.
Back right, Aaron.
With the bye week being so late, you had an opportunity to go and get some recruiting in on the road. Just how beneficial was that to actually have the bye week a little bit later, not just from, you know, of course, getting your players healthy before the postseason, but also just to get some eyes on some recruits before that early signing day?
Yeah, I think regardless of where bye week is at, it's about your ability to take advantage of the time that's allotted to you. So, you know, if it was earlier, I think we would have tried to do the same thing. But ultimately, we always want to take advantage of every moment. And there's a little bit of chaos in college football right now with where things fall, whether it's signing day, whether it's portal windows, and all those things have changed a lot. So I think all of us are learning how to adapt. But you certainly don't let moments like the bye week go by that you don't take advantage of that time.
Front left, James.
Simplest of terms, just what does this rivalry mean to you?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I think college football rivalries are extremely special. You know, I think that's one of the things that make this fun. The excitement that surrounds the fans, the alumni, the people that have been a part of games like this for a long time. It means a lot to us, certainly. But ultimately, it is another game, right? It's the next game. And you don't get out there playing with emotion. It's about execution over emotion. So these games are going to have emotion. That's the way these games are played. But that's not what's going to lead to success on the field.
Back left, Matt.
You could have 5-6 more games this season, and teams across the country are going to play more than they've ever played. How do you feel like you've managed to develop depth and then manage that depth over the course of the season to be ready for 5 or 6 more games?
Yeah, I think it's preparation throughout the year, and always thinking forward with your roster and what that looks like, and doing a great job of developing your roster, right? To where when things happen, we've had injuries that have happened this year, being in position to have great players that can go in there and make an impact.
Back right, Aaron.
Just going back to the seniors, players like Jeff and Marcus that have kind of been with you since day one and decided to stay. Just how thankful are you to them for believing in you and being a crucial part in what you've come to develop here at Oregon?
Yeah, I'm very proud of those guys, and I'm really more than believing in me. I'm really proud of them for believing in themselves and what they could create. You know, this is a player-led team. Those guys have done an unbelievable job of setting our culture and creating, you know, what we've been able to accomplish so far this season.
Center on the left here, Eric.
I want to get your thoughts on Bruner, their linebacker, and kind of what stands out, what traits are pop on film from him.
Yeah, just active player. I think he's one of the guys. You talk about, you know, great linebacker plays. Those guys are able to make the people around him play better, right? Like a good quarterback can't be a good quarterback unless he does a great job of making sure the wideouts are on the same page. I think what you see is a defense that has 11 guys playing the same call, right, at the same time. That sounds easy, but it's not as easy as it looks at times. So you see a group that communicates well together and plays well off of each other and solves problems, and he's definitely one of those guys.
Front left, James.
Do you expect Jordan Birch and Marcus Harper to be back this week?
Yeah, I think time will tell. Just like I've always told you guys, when guys are ready to be out there on the field, we'll see them.
Oh, yeah, where you go.